possible. EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back to the Gallery Bar, booking games here at Ocean Casino in Atlantic City. Marc Farzetta as well as Kayla Santiago along with you here for the JAKIB Media halftime show, where the score is 14-9 in favor of your Philadelphia Eagles. Not exactly the way a lot of us wanted to see it play out there in the first half. The main reason there, unfortunately, turnovers there for the Eagles. Well, let's start with the good. We'll talk about the bad, and then we'll bring in our friend John McMullen at halftime here from MetLife Stadium. First off, Kayla, let's talk about the good. One of the first plays of the game, Jalen Hurts rolls to his right, has a tackler right there on his arm. He stiff arms him, completes a pass to A.J. Brown. I mean, that's the guy right there that, although there are very very few but loud haters of Jalen Hurts, that's a play right there that makes you just say, shut up, haters.
He looks like a magician right now, and that's what you want to see from Jalen Hurts. He's able to scramble out somehow and make these accurate throws, and his guy, A.J. Brown, is absolutely lighting it up at the moment. So I love what I'm seeing from Jalen Hurts. I think he's bouncing off the second half of last week as well. Want to see him a little bit more confident, not so hesitant, especially in the red zone, but I think that's more of a Brian Johnson thing than a Jalen Hurts thing. Right now, I think he had a very good first half.
Absolutely. Now, when you look at this game, I know a lot of people might look at it similar to what they looked at when they saw the Commanders game in South Philadelphia last year, a game that the Eagles just continuously made mistakes. I don't know about you, but for me, this game doesn't have that feel to it. They know they're better than that. They're going to get the ball coming out of halftime here to make plays for themselves and hopefully be able to build on to this lead. I don't have the feeling that the Eagles are going to make the same type of mistakes in the second half as they did in the first as far as protecting the football.
No, they're not. And we saw the adjustments last week, so I'm very confident in this team that they can adjust as well in the second half of action. I also think the Jets just aren't going to be able to keep up. I think it's as simple as that. The Commanders are a rival. You see them twice this season. That game's always going to happen. People were saying this may be a trap game for Philadelphia. I don't think so whatsoever. You see the adjustments in the second half, just like we did a week ago, but this time I want it to be Brian Johnson. I want to see his play calls a little bit better in the red zone. We talked about that last week. Don't love them in the first half. That needs to be adjusted in this game. There's no doubt in my mind that Philadelphia comes out with a victory here tonight. The Jets just aren't as powerful as you could even say the Commanders are, which is crazy to say, right?
Absolutely. We could ask John McMullen right now about that 19-play, 90-yard drive to start things off for the Eagles. But here's the thing. A lot of the fun and excitement was taken away from it because we didn't even get to celebrate the touchdown as it was happening. It was originally ruled that he was down at the 1. They reviewed it, said he broke the plane before he fumbled it. So they still gave credit to the Eagles for the touchdown. We'll talk to John McMullen about that as well as some of the injury news. John, let me ask you right out of the gate here about Lane Johnson. What's the news up there right now in North Jersey about the Eagles all-pro right guard, or right tackle, excuse me?
Obviously, ankle injuries, what it was listed as. Lane was hobbling off, and he went into the locker room pretty quickly. Obviously, didn't return. I think it'd be a long shot to see him come back, especially on this turf. A lot of players don't like playing at MetLife Stadium. So my guess is the Eagles are going to take that cautious, but we'll see if he comes out after halftime. Jack Driscoll came in, played pretty well. And as a matter of fact, I think the Eagles would be in comfortable control of this game if not for the turnovers. So obviously that has kept the Jets in it, but the Jets haven't been able to put the ball in the end zone, settle for 3 Greg Zuerlein field goals. I heard Kayla talk, and I get that same sense. You don't get the feeling the Jets are dangerous, but maybe that is part of the reason the Eagles are not paying that strict attention to detail we usually see from them. They're also rotating a ton on defense. Josh Jobe and Eli Ricks in corner. We've seen mainly Roby, but even some Mario Goodricks. N'Kobe Dean did not start, played the most. With Zach Cunningham, Nicholas Morrow got the start. So, and obviously the defensive front, they're playing a lot of 55-man fronts because they're more concerned with the Jets' running game than the passing game with Zach Wilson. He did find a little bit to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, he's a heck of a player. If Aaron Rodgers was healthy, I think everybody would know Garrett Wilson. I think he'd be a burgeoning superstar in this league. But the Jets have some limitations with Zach Wilson playing quarterback.
And right now, we talked about the positive of Philadelphia, but one of the negatives we could say is this screen pass game at the moment. Throughout the season, it hasn't been very good. What do they need to do to get that going and try to gain those chunks of yards?
Yeah, and if you think about it, they sort of made the two mistakes with Dallas Goedert, the ball getting ricocheted, and all of a sudden turns into an interception. DeAndre Swift, that's more of a ball security issue. Sort of a slip screen. They are getting DeAndre involved in the passing game more for the second consecutive game. So he caught 6 balls in the first half and the touchdown. Obviously, they have not run the ball well at all. They have 0 yards running the football from a traditional standpoint. Jalen Hurts has 4 for 21, but Boston's at 2 for 2. DeAndre Swift's at 4 for -2. So they need to get that running game going at least a little bit to make it easier to throw the football. But the Jets can't do anything with A.J. Brown. When it comes down to that, the Eagles have been lights out on third down again offensively, especially on that first drive, 3 for 3. And then right off the bat, they were 3 for 3. Before they bogged down a little bit in the red zone, the Jets are 0 for 5 on third down. So that's where they're winning this football game on third down.
Yeah, and obviously, as you pointed out earlier, also with the turnovers, I mean, what can the Eagles do in this second half to make sure that they're protecting the football a little bit better than what we saw in that first half, John?
Yeah, I mean, that's something you got to stress, and there's certain teams, and you saw it week 2, it's happening all year to Minnesota. Once it gets in your mind, that's what you got to be careful about. So Nick Sirianni does a good job of stressing that. The Eagles spend a lot of time on ball security. Some of those things are going to happen when you see the ball getting ricocheted, not catching it cleanly, PBUs, things like that. You look at the box score tomorrow, you'll say Jalen Hurts interception. Well, that wasn't his fault. And obviously, DeAndre Swift, as I said, that's a strict ball security issue, and he hasn't had, troubles like that yet this season. So you hope that gets cleaned up pretty quickly.
And right now, the Eagles only up by 5. I think we all can agree that we don't think the Jets are going to come back in this game with their struggles on offense, but crazier things have happened in the NFL. What do you want to see out of the gate for the Eagles to try to get a little bit more margin of lead here?
Well, I think if the Eagles get up by that 2 scores, I think, the Jets will say, here we go again. They know they struggle offensively, especially from the defensive standpoint. Remember, the Jets are down their top 3 corners, some say top 4 corners. They had a lot of trouble on that one drive, the second touchdown drive, tackling on the back 7. So I think when the snowball starts to run down the hill, it'll keep going downhill. If the Eagles get to that 2-score lead, I think the Jets will start saying, all right, let's start thinking about next week.
Our NFL insider, John McMullen, joining us from MetLife Stadium. John, we'll talk to you in the postgame and, of course, throughout the week on Birds 365 as well. Thanks, John.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, what I know what I need to see in the second half, Kayla, is the Eagles obviously have more efficiency in that red zone. I know that initially, as I said, you didn't get to enjoy the touchdown too much because Jalen Hurts had punched it in, but it wasn't ruled out until after review. But what is a shame to me is that the Eagles' red zone has continued to struggle, and those are the plays that they have to call because they seem not to be able to get anything else going for themselves. And this isn't just about beating the Jets today because I do believe the Eagles are going to beat the Jets.
Right.
This is about how you're going to face the upper echelon teams of the NFL. I know the 49ers Niners lost today, and we're all excited about that because the Eagles are the last undefeated team in the NFL. But as they do face those better teams, you need to have better red zone efficiency. So that's what I need to see in the second half. How about you?
It absolutely needs to start in the second half. We talked about this week after week after week. Last week, Sean Desai probably had one of the best second halves as an Eagles defensive coordinator. I need to see Brian Johnson have the best second half in the red zone as the Eagles offensive coordinator. These issues cannot happen. You're facing the New York Jets. If you have these struggles this week, that undefeated record is going to go away. So right now, that's the toughest thing the Eagles have had to deal with. It needs to be adjusted, and that's Brian Johnson's job. He probably has the biggest test in the second half.
Second half adjustments done by Sean Desai. Second half adjustments hopefully this week by Brian Johnson. Great point. Now, let's talk about a great partnership we have going on here at JAKIB Media with the amazing people of the EBOD Foundation. That's EBOD, to combat Alzheimer's as well as dementia. You guys can text these promo codes to this phone number. It's 833-202-9835. That's text the word SCORE to 833-202-9835 for the big game sweepstakes brought to you by the wonderful people at EBOD Foundation to help combat Alzheimer's as well as dementia. And you guys could vote for my team. I'd like people could do that. I hear your Team Miss of Mikey Miss is very much in the lead. We like to make a come-from-behind victory here for Team Farzi, as well as Team Seth for Seth Joyner and Team Gunn for Derek Gunn. All right, Kayla and I will be back with you guys with the post-game show, as will Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, and Mike Missinelli. We'll be joining you guys there for the Pond Hockey post-game show. Until then, here's to a second-half push by your Philadelphia Eagles.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
At Pond Hockey, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Hockey a call.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES. Eagles.